welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Kensthetic, and I'm here with you guys today with a new video. So today is day 6 of Chemist 2019, and I want to start off by thanking you guys for all of the support, all of the positive feedback, all of everything for Chemist 2019. I put so much planning and hard work into this, and to see everything being executed now, I'm really excited, and I'm happy that you guys are enjoying it. So I wanted to start off by thanking you all. But we are here today with a new video, and the topic of today's video will be all about taxes. It is December, and y'all know once January 1st hit, we sitting at the mailbox waiting for the mailman USPS to pull up with our W-2 so that we can file our taxes and get our coins back, or whatever the case is. So I wanted to speak to you guys about taxes. So before we get started, do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and hit that red subscribe button down below, because you guys will be back for more. Give this video a big thumbs up if you like, and comment down below after watching this whole video with your thoughts, comments, questions, or any of that, because I'm always responding to all of my comments. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So as you guys may or may not know, I received my Bachelor's of Science from Binghamton University in accounting with a concentration in leadership and consulting. And I feel like when most people hear accounting or that you're an accountant, they just automatically assume you know how to file taxes. But yeah, I'm gonna keep it 100% honest with you guys. I do not know how to file taxes. I'm not a tax preparer, and that's just that on that. However, while you do external audit work and while you study for your CPA, you do learn a lot about taxes and different tax laws and different tax positions and different deductions and X, Y, and Z. So I do not have my CPA yet. You know, you gotta speak it into existence. But I study for Reg, which is the section of the exam that deals with taxes, and I learned a good amount from that section of tax, because to keep it honest, I didn't learn anything in any of my tax classes in undergraduate. So me studying for Reg was really me learning and teaching myself tax information. Okay, so I do not know how to file taxes. I'm not a tax preparer. However, when I speak to people about filing taxes, I ask certain questions, and a lot of people don't really know what's being done. A lot of people, you know, they pull up with their W-2 to their tax preparer or to TurboTax or whatever service or person is filing their taxes. They give the information and they don't really know what's going on. They don't know what the numbers mean. They don't know what the words mean. They're just like, here, give me this, and I'm hoping to get as much money back in return. However, while you are filing taxes for yourself or for your business or whatever you're filing taxes for, it's important to at least understand what's going on. Even though you're not physically doing the preparation, it's important to understand what's going on. So to keep it honest with you guys, I feel like a lot of tax preparers don't 100% know what's going on. Specifically if you have like a certain circumstance that they probably never saw before. So it's just important to understand what your taxes should look like, what the preparation process should be like, and all of the above, just so that you know that you're not getting screwed over. Okay, so I'm not a tax preparer. I'm not a specialist in taxes. However, I do have a little bit of information that I feel like most people may not know, which can be helpful for you this tax season. So let's go ahead and get into it. I just wanted to lay that down because I don't want anyone thinking inside of my DMs talking about, can you prepare my taxes? Can you like do this for me? Can you recommend? Yeah, I'm just here to provide y'all with the information that I taught myself and did research on. All of this information is available online, but yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So I have my notes in my phone. So I also asked you guys on Instagram what questions you guys had when it comes to filing taxes. What do you guys have difficulties with? And you guys answered, like, I've received so many answers. So this is probably going to be part 1 of the video, because it is Chemist, so I don't want my videos to be too long now. But I am going to answer each and every one of your questions if you submitted a question through Instagram. And I also have like some other information that I'm just going to throw in there. So the first question is, how do you file your taxes? So you can either file your taxes yourself, or you can go to a tax preparer. So some services you can use if you do choose to file your taxes yourself, it is TurboTax and H&R Block. And if you do decide to go to a tax preparer, I would recommend doing some research on them, understanding, you know, how long they've been doing it. Do they specialize like in any type of taxes? If you just pull up to John Smith to file your taxes and you don't know how long John Smith been filing taxes, you don't know what certifications John Smith has, you just know that you want John Smith to file your taxes, I wouldn't recommend that. So I would say do research on the person who is filing your taxes. So the next question is, what is the difference between a standard deduction and an itemized deduction? So you can claim either a standard deduction or itemized deductions. And basically what both of them do is lower your taxable income, which there's a whole equation behind it. But basically that goes into the bottom line of how much you're going to receive back in taxes versus how much you have to pay in taxes. So itemized deductions are made up of a list of eligible expenses. So if you choose to do itemized deductions, there are certain categories of deductions that you can take. However, when you do a standard deduction, it's set based on what your filing status is. So that brings me into the next question that you guys had, which is, what is a filing status and what's the importance of a filing status? So filing status is the filing status is one of the first questions that we answer while we're filing our taxes. The options are either single, married filing jointly, married filing separately, and head of household. So depending on what your status is, that is how much your standard deduction is going to be. So the standard deduction changes year over year. So the standard deduction for 2019 is different than the standard deduction for 2019. So actually all of the standard deductions actually increase from 2018 to 2019. So I'll run through them quickly just so you guys have a sense of what they are. So if you file single, the standard deduction for 2019 is $12,200. If you file head of household, the standard deduction for 2019 is $18,350. If you choose married but filing separately, your standard deduction is $12,200. And if you're married filing jointly, the standard deduction is $24,400. So as you guys can tell from that information, married filing jointly has a higher standard deduction, which is, I guess, like better in most people's eyes. So I'm not sure if you guys ever heard or saw in movies that people get married on like New Year's Eve or towards the end of the year. But basically the benefit of that is that if you get married anytime throughout the year, so anytime up to 11:59 p.m. on December 31st, 2018, you will be considered married for the whole year. And that way you have a higher standard deduction and you have way more tax benefits than if you were filing single. I'm not encouraging y'all to do anything, but I'm just saying that. And that is also why people prefer to stay married rather than getting a divorce when they're going through things. But I'll just leave it at that. So basically, your filing status determines your standard deduction. So quick difference between standard deductions and itemized deductions. If you choose to do the standard deduction, your process filing taxes is way easier because you know what your deduction is, versus if you do itemized deduction, you have to sit there and figure out specifically what deductions you qualify for and then what amount your deduction is going to be. For itemized deductions, they're based on different types of expenses, and if you do choose to do itemized deductions, you want to make sure that you have receipts for everything, okay? If the IRS comes to you and says you have this business meal expense for $200, then you need to make sure that you have that receipt from TGI Fridays or Applebee's or wherever you went to justify that expense. So if you are doing itemized deductions, or if that's something you're thinking about to use in 2020, I would recommend keeping like a tracking Excel spreadsheet of all of the expenses and the receipts. I like to take pictures of my receipts and scan my receipts and just keep them in my phone. That way I don't have to look for like physical copies or worry about the ink running off of my receipts. I have it in my phone and it is nice and safe. So I would recommend keeping an Excel spreadsheet throughout the year so that when it's time to file your taxes, you have like all of that information in one place and you're not like scrummaging around looking for receipts. A question that someone asked on Instagram was, WTF, does taxes exist? Yes, girl, they do. And y'all need to make sure y'all are filing y'all taxes, okay? I cannot count how many people I speak to and they're like, oh, I work for myself, so I don't have to file taxes. Sis, yes, you do. Like, I don't know if y'all know, but the IRS does audits every year and they choose differently how they do their audits every year. But that can be you. I know some people who didn't pay taxes and the IRS definitely came knocking on their door like, hey, you need to pay us X amount of money. And they were in shambles, okay? Shambles. So make sure you guys are filing your taxes. If you have a 9 to 5, but then you also have a business outside of that, make sure you're filing taxes for yourself as well as your business, or even conjointly depending on how you have your business set up. But make sure y'all are filing y'all taxes, okay? Me personally, I have a 9 to 5 job, and I also have YouTube. I work with brands, I have different partnerships, and I'm filing taxes for everything, okay? Everything. If you don't know if you should be filing taxes on it, I feel like you should definitely be filing taxes on it. Or ask your tax preparer, you know, like, hey, I have this going on, I have this gig, like, what are the tax impact of me doing this or me working with this person, or whatever the case is. If you're a freelancer, you need to be filing taxes as well, period. Someone asked on Instagram, what are some things that you can write off that most people don't know they can? So as I mentioned earlier, you can either take the standard deduction where your deduction is based on your filing status, or you can do itemized deductions. So when you do itemized deductions, there are so many things, so many types of expenses that are considered deductions that I feel like a lot of people don't really know about. A lot of people don't even know that there's a difference between standard deductions and itemized deductions. So some examples of things, expenses that you can consider deductions, depending on if you qualify. So it ain't for everybody. You got to do your research and make sure you qualify. But some expenses that can be categorized as deductions if you do itemize are if you have a car and you use it for your business use, if you have a health savings account, so if you have a 9 to 5 job and depending on the benefit package you choose, you have a health savings account, there are tax benefits from that. If you are a student or you're paying student loans and you pay interest on those student loans, I think it's 12 months after you graduate or 12 payments. I'm not too sure because I feel like that time been past me, but you can that is considered a deduction. Your student loan interest, if you have home office expenses, those can be considered deductions. If you are a teacher and you purchase school materials out of pocket, you can deduct up to $250. And if you own a business and you use your home for your business, you can deduct a certain amount under itemized deductions. So those are just some examples of things that a lot of people don't really know consider as deductions, and also things that I feel like will relate to most of you guys. I know that a lot of my friends, a lot of my supporters have businesses where they're selling eyelashes, bundles, you doing hair, you doing lashes, or whatever the case is. I feel like those things can definitely apply to you all. The next question is there anything as an accountant that regular people should know? And I feel like not really, because everything that we know is literally accessible online. Like all of the phrases that we use for accounting, all of the accounting standards, everything is available online. So I wouldn't say that there's anything that we know that y'all should know. Everything is online. All of the information that I learned, as I told you guys, I basically like taught myself taxes, and I really did that through online. Like I would just really Google random things. So I would really say to do your research. And as I mentioned before, if somebody is preparing your taxes, cool, but make sure you have an understanding of what's going on. Like, no question is a dumb question, so make sure that as they're preparing your taxes for you, you're asking questions about anything that you do not understand, because you don't want to leave any money on the table, and you also want to make sure that you are telling the IRS all of the information that they need and want to know. I really wanted to do this video because I feel like this is going to be a part 1, as I mentioned. There's so much information, so many questions that you guys have, and I want y'all to drop them down below if they're not answered in this video, or DM me on Instagram if you guys don't feel comfortable commenting down below. But I'm here to help y'all, okay? I have an accounting degree. I was an accountant / I'm a consultant now. Whatever, we'll get into that later on down the line. But yeah, I feel like I worked on so many different projects and with so many different people that I learned so many different things. So I'm just trying to find ways to incorporate the knowledge that I have into my videos in ways that can benefit you and you guys can understand, because taxes is so like wordy, I feel, but then when you really like think about it and you put it into like taxes 101 for dummies, it makes sense. How to better understand deductibles, like does paying money to my union count? So actually, when the tax law changed in 2018, before 2018, there was a deduction related to union costs, but ever since the tax reform, that has been eliminated. So if you pay money to a union, that is not considered an expense that can be deducted. So I hope that answers your question. And someone says, how does itemized deductions like donations help my refund? So with donations, I feel like there are so many different strings attached. Depends on if the organization or charity you made a donation to is actually like qualified. So I did find a thread about charitable contribution deductions on the IRS website. So I'll go ahead and link that down below so you can give it a read, because I feel like that'll answer your question more, and only you know more information about the charity that you donated to. So I hope that helps. Someone said, what do I do if I don't work but my parents send me money from out of the country to pay for school? So this question is kind of tricky, because it's like, are your parents U.S. citizens? Do they claim you? Do you file taxes for yourself? So since you're going to have to give me more information for me to specifically answer that question for you. And someone asked me, can I file your kids as mine? Like, I left that one for last, and that was actually the first response. But yeah, I have no kids, okay? I have no kids, and when I have kids, the only people who gonna file for them is me and my husband, because we're filing married and joint, okay? So no, you cannot file my kids because they do not exist, period. So I hope this video helped. As I mentioned, this is going to be a part 1, and we will do a part 2 depending on what questions you guys have. When you guys leave questions, try to be like as detailed as possible so that I can specifically answer your questions, as well as provide you guys with enough information so that you guys can understand. I really, like, I'm all here for one-on-one dummies. Like, I feel like when I was learning in school, I had to dumb things down like to the lowest level. So that's kind of how I try to provide information as well. So I hope this helps. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel. Give this video a big thumbs up if you guys enjoy it. Don't forget to drop a comment down below. And until tomorrow, I will see you guys later.